Hey, YouTubers. I know I haven't been on for a while, and I know that a lot of things have occurred in our particular arena, which is New Jersey politics and law enforcement corruption and all the kinds of misdeeds that have been going on by the people that we've entrusted to serve us. And with that very politically charged theme, there's another story that's coming in from Salem County, New Jersey. Apparently, a former county corrections officer, a former county sheriff's officer, who was forced to resign amidst a federal civil rights investigation and a federal lawsuit for prisoner abuse and civil rights deprivations, is now seeking public employment again. And this time he's running for the county's sheriff's position. And in that capacity, if he's elected, he's going to be entrusted with managing the same agency that he was forced out of. He's going to possess full police powers. He's going to be able to carry a firearm in the county and enforce our laws. And what's deeply troubling to me in this instance is this, okay? The candidate whose name is Robert Gant, Bob Gant, was a candidate who was forced out and agreed under tremendous pressure from our criminal justice system never to seek government employment in the state of New Jersey again. Well, he is, folks. And by all accounts, he's probably going to be elected to serve as county sheriff. How come the powers that be have not made any kind of a stink about this? How come they haven't enforced his voluntary agreement not to serve as a law enforcement officer? How come an injunction hasn't been sought from a judge to remove his name from the ballot? Ask yourself those questions. Ask yourself what would happen to Joe Schmo, the average 9 to 5er, who served, I don't know, as a city councilman or a freeholder or something like that. And he was caught doing some kind of misdeed. I mean, he would be thrown under the bus. And I have an analogy to compare the Bob Gant story to. Recently in Burlington County, we had a freeholder candidate by the name of George Youngkin. And George was, by all accounts, a very good politician. He served on the Medford Planning and Zoning Board for years. He was very committed. He coached youth sports, etc., etc. Well, apparently, George Youngkin was married to a real whack job who was a prescription drug addict and everything else. So it came out that about 12 or 13 years ago, George Youngkin was busted on a trumped-up domestic violence charge, which was later dismissed in municipal court, and he was found not guilty. Well, now they're beating that into the ground. That's the Democrat, or that's the opposition's rallying cry to get George Youngkin removed from the ballot and get him to step out of the race, which he did in this case. But yet somebody like Bob Gant, who has been accused of committing malfeasance from his political office, is being allowed to run for Salem County Sheriff when the people in Burlington County so vocally forced George Youngkin out of office for something that wasn't even tangibly related to his duties. Think about this, folks. Think about the hypocrisy. And I posit this. This is my conclusion. More times than not, if you're a police officer in the state of New Jersey, a law enforcement officer, you get away with more crap than the rest of us do. The same reason if you're a teacher in the state of New Jersey, you get away with more crap than the rest of us do. The public workers unions control of Trenton is increasing. We're never going to get back to the point that it was pre-Chris Christie, at least not in my lifetime or your lifetime. But they're getting back to the point where the NJEA and the NJPBA and the NJFOP can dictate the legislative agenda to our legislature. And that should concern you, because the more powerful that these unions get and the more entrenched that their members become, the less that your rights are going to matter. Okay? I mean, when you have a guy like Bob Gant running for county sheriff after he's admitted and resigned from several civil rights issues, and people aren't batting an eye, aside from some tangential talk on the left side or the right side, the general mainstream is supporting his candidacy, that should really cause some disturbance. People should really be bothered by that, because it signals that our society in the state of New Jersey is becoming desensitized to political corruption and law enforcement misconduct in particular. And I don't think that this is one of the issues that's an outlying issue. It happens here and there. I think that this is the norm, where powerful members of public workers' unions commit these grievous offenses and everything's overlooked. It's a fresh start. It's a fresh day. I mean, how many times have we seen people take these pretrial intervention agreements, if they're public employees, go through their probation for 9, 10, 12, whatever months, come back out, get a non-related job, and you're good to go. You don't have a conviction. I mean, okay, so you can't serve as a cop or a firefighter again. You can still find some kind of public job, and you can bet that the unions will work hard to get their people reemployed, you know? And I want to posit this. Is the next step in the state of New Jersey going to be the transition from pretending that the average Joe has the same rights as public worker union members, or to admitting that there is an exception for the public worker union members? For example, are we going to say, whereas the average Joe gets a DUI, they lose their license for 90 days, is the next step going to be we're going to have a statutory exemption? Okay, well, if you're a teacher or a cop or a firefighter, from now on, you're going to get a special license to drive even after you're convicted of DUI. Because that kind of things have happened in other states. That's happened in New York. That's happened in Connecticut. So what I'm talking isn't pure fiction. It's just the next step to an egregious double standard. That's right. To an egregious double standard where you and I are forced to live by one code of conduct, but those that are entrusted to serve us can violate our trust blatantly and return to work the next day what I do foresee in the state of New Jersey in the next 3 years, by 2021, I foresee the upper house of the state Senate switching over, transitioning to Republican control. The Assembly never will. But the Senate, I think, is going to be controlled by Republicans, especially with Van Drew's departure in LD1. I think a Republican's probably going to pick up that seat. I think Chris Brown is probably going to hold LD2. And the Republicans are going to get their 21 seats in the legislature. So that should be interesting to see what the overall effect of that is. Because for those of you that maybe are unfamiliar with the political realities in New Jersey, the Republican-controlled or the Republican-influenced state Senate has been far less receptive to public worker interest than the Assembly has. the assembly is essentially completely beholden to the public worker unions. The state senate is not, and they never have been. Well, folks, now that we hit the 10-minute mark, I'm going to log off. Please be expecting more coverage from me and Gunnison Undercover. We're going to work on getting more videos up. He did an excellent one today on Longstreet Farms, and I think that the Longstreet Farm video is going to signify a trend in our videos that we're going to become more and more vocal around election time. Okay, because the Monmouth County Park System is one of the ultimate evils and ultimate waste in taxpayers' monies in Monmouth County. They have taken a truly benign mission and they have transformed it into something that's all about self-serving and special interest. So, with that said, folks, good night and God bless.